Hi crafters, it's Marianne from MA Designs. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is part 3 in my little mini series of using up different products from different brands all along the kind of tropical theme. So in part 1 I looked at all of the stuff in my stash that fell into that sort of category. Across all different brands, different kits, different types of kit, things that I've had for years, stamps, dies, papers, all of it. I made an absolute mess on my desk. So, yeah, but we made quite a lot of cards. And in part 2, I focused on a card that I made with the Hunky Dory Tropicana craft stack. And in this one, part 3, I'm going to focus on a card I'm going to make with this. This is the Tropical Vibes Tonic Craft Kit number 31. And the Tonic Craft Kit is a monthly subscription kit from Tonic Studios. They're based in the UK, but I think there's a US branch as well. Branch version, you know what I mean. So these are the contents that came with that kit. I absolutely love it because of those hibiscus dies, those fancy border dies that you get. The stamps, not so much. There's not really sentiments in there that I think I'm going to use. I do enjoy this paper pack here, I think. Compared to some of the other paper pads that you will have seen in part 1, these are much more subtle. They're a tone-on-tone background kind of cards rather than the really bold, gaudy patterns that you've seen in the others. And then in the Tonic Studios kit, you also get a sample of different cardstocks and papers. So you've got that fabulous plum mulberry sort of embossed paper there. I don't know if it's a handmade paper, and that's my face there. Hi guys, if you've not seen my face before. You've got some gold, multicoloured mirror, you've got some magenta mirror, you've got the burgundy card in their sort of standard texture, that sort of woven texture. And there you go, at the end you've got that beautiful green embossed. I don't know if it's really embossed, it's not deeply embossed anyway, that pearl shimmer green leafy pattern. It's absolutely gorgeous. This one here, look at that. It's not deep, but it's sort of, you can see on the back you can barely see any marks, but it does have a texture, and I think a lot of it's a visual texture because some of it's pearlescent, so it sort of catches the light. Anyway, it's fabulous, so we're going to use that today. So yeah, like I was saying, forgive the mess on my desk. For those of you who do not like a messy desk, I can only apologise. Bear with me, it won't hurt you, and if you stick to the end of the video, you'll see me whiz through and tidy it all up. I fast forwarded it, but you'll see I tidied it all up to show you how I'm going to store all of this stuff going forward so that it's easy for me to use in future. So this die set, this is the star of the show for me. This is what made me buy this kit. I didn't get it as my monthly subscription. I did subscribe for 12 to 18 months-ish, but this one I bought from the Vault in one of their Vault sales where they re-release old kits. So yeah, I love this one, and I didn't get it. I think I subscribed after this. So I am going to cut out this fabulous hibiscus and leafy border, and then there's also an outline die. So you can just use that top die there, you can use that and just cut the flowers into your cardstock. So that would be fab to just cut it into maybe some white cardstock and put some of the speciality papers behind it so they pop through the gaps. But that's not what I'm doing today. Today I'm going to do a die cut inlay. So I have cut it out using that single line that you can see there as well. So it's not just cut the gap into the gold card, it's actually cut it out of the gold card. And then I'm going to use that same border die to cut a piece of the green leafy pearly paper. So I'm just measuring it up there against my card blank. So if you put your card blank into your closed guillotine right up to the blade, and then make a note of how wide the card is, and then cut your paper to the same size, then it'll match, it'll be the perfect size. I don't know if I've explained that very well, but it's a really useful tip. So you've got the gold die cut there still stuck in the die, and I'm just using this border die, just lining it up to make sure that I cut the same curve out of the green paper. So just lining that up and making sure it's at an angle that I like, and then when I'm happy with the position, I'll tape that the bottom die, that single die, tape that down, and then peel the gold die apart from it and put that somewhere separate. So die cut this green, and all I'm going to use is that really small piece of the green right at the bottom. I love this green paper so much, I don't want to use all of it. I will have to at some point. That's why we buy the crafty things, right? So that we can cut into them and make things, not so we can keep them and look at them forever. But I'm a bit of a collector. I have ended up with way more stuff than I'm ever going to use in my lifetime. So hopefully, through the course of making these videos, I will make a dent in that stash and also inspire you guys to do the same, because I'm sure I'm not alone in the collecting thing. Yeah. Please feel free to leave me a comment. Let me know I'm not the only crazy person. Okay, so I'm going to glue this piece of green paper to the bottom of my card blank. Just line that up with the edges of the card. Give my it's a shop bought card blank, and it wasn't particularly well folded, so just give that a push down. Also, I've just trimmed a tiny piece off the back because it wasn't folded very well. It wasn't cut particularly square, so just by trimming that tiny little sliver off the back, it means that it's going to look more aligned from the front, and it's always going to be easier to open because you've got that leading edge on the front card. So that was what I was doing there. And then yeah, so I've popped out this beautiful shimmery, it's not even gold is an understatement. Look at the different colours that you get in that mirror card. I think Tonic still sell this. Obviously I just got this one sheet of it in this kit, but I believe it's part of their main product line. So if I can find the name of it, I will try and remember to leave it in the description box just in case you want to go back and have a look. I know they did it in a few other colours as well. There was like a beautiful sort of mermaidy kind of, it looked like mermaid scales. It was like a pale blue with like a green shimmer to it. So yeah, I'll try and remember to put a link, or at the very least the name of it. So I'm just dabbing on some tiny amounts of glue on the back of it. You can see it's quite a fine die cut, but in the places where the lines join, you get a little corner, so you can usually get a blob of glue in there without making a mess. And then just lining that up against the green, and obviously because you've used that same die cut for each one, to cut the outline, it matches perfectly. So you don't have any gaps, and you didn't have to try and draw the same curve. I mean, if you were cutting that by hand, it'd be a nightmare. So that's all glued down now. And I'm just delicately whacking that against my desk just to get all the pieces out and put those in the bin. You could use those on a die cut inlay for another card, but I'm not going to today, so I'm just going to bin them. You can keep too many things as a crafter. I can see a use for those bits of gold, but you've got to draw the line somewhere. So there was this woven textured card and this mirror card in the kit, so I'm going to cut out one of the flowers in each of those. So there's going to be one that's matte and one that's shiny. So you can see I've got these little squares here. I'm just going to tape those to the relevant area of the die, and then die cut those, and then just do a die cut inlay technique. So I've speeded up this next section so you don't have to watch me inlay every single little piece. I'm sure you'll be able to follow along and work out what I'm doing, but basically it's like a jigsaw. You put a little bit of glue in each of the gaps and you match up the pink or plum or whatever colour you want to call that. You match up each piece and you align it back into the outline, and it'll fit perfectly because you've used the die. It will fit perfectly, and it gives a really nice effect. I'll show you some close-ups at the end. But yeah, let me know what you think of this this tropical card series that I'm doing. So do you like the theme? Does tropical appeal to you? Do you have a load of tropical stuff in your stash that you have had for years and not actually used? Or are you bored of it by now? Have you got rid of it? Have you donated it all? Yeah, let me know. Maybe I'm the only one still hanging on to this stuff. But also let me know what you think of the series. I did a really long video. It was over 40 minutes long, part one, showing you through all of the stock, all of the stuff that I've got in my stash that I believe fits this similar theme. I showed you through everything. I showed you through the paper pads, through the stamps, through the dies, through my colouring, through my fussy cutting. It was a really long video making about 3 cards. I think it was 3. And then I've done 2 smaller videos, part 2 and part 3, focusing on a particular brand, a particular product, and just making 1 card out of each. So there was part 2 was focusing on the Hunky Dory craft stack, and then this part 3 is focusing on the Tonic Studios subscription kit. So let me know in the comments, please, if that series has been useful for you, or if you've enjoyed watching it, because I do think there's room for me to make more. I have other products in my craft stash that I could do a similar kind of thing with. So Art Deco would be one that springs to mind. I've got loads and loads of Art Deco stuff. I don't know if it's been inspired by the fact that we're now in the 20s, so the Roaring 20s was 100 years ago, or if it's just because the dresses are so fabulous, or if it's because of Strictly Come Dancing. I'm not sure. But there seems to have been a lot of 20s, Roaring 20s, Art Deco style craft kits over the years. I've got some from Paper Mania, Crafter's Companion, you name it. So I could do a similar kind of series on that. Also Christmas, if you think about it, anything that's red and green, you can probably match across all of your companies, across all of the years of your collection. You can probably mix and match your red and green and just do loads and loads and loads of Christmas cards from different companies, like mixing and matching the companies. I'm sure I've got loads of children's stuff as well, you know, like teddy bears and cartoony kind of things. So there's a number of things that I could probably do a themed series on. So yeah, your feedback would be really useful. I'm fairly new to YouTube, so yeah, it'd be interesting to hear what your thoughts are of the channel so far and whether you want me to continue with this series. Also, let me know if there's anything in your craft stash that you've had for years that you can't find ideas and inspiration for, because a lot of the stuff that we bought years ago, if you've been crafting the same kind of era from the era that I started crafting, like about 20 years ago, there was magazines, and Create and Craft was just kind of a new thing. And obviously Create and Craft has gone by the wayside now. But there was a little bit on TV. There was a little bit on the internet. I know Do Crafts used to do episodes on the internet on their website now and then. But a lot of it was magazines. And if you got rid of those now, you'll no longer know what to do with those kits that you bought all that time ago. So if, like me, you've hung on to things from years ago and you still like them and you still intend to use them, but you just don't know what to do with them, or you feel like it's not trendy anymore or whatever, leave me a comment in the comment section below this video and just let me know, is there something you want me to do next? Is there something that you're particularly struggling with? And I will do my best to help you. I don't know everything, but we can work it out together. I'll do my very best. So back to this card. I've die cut, again out of that mirror, that beautiful magenta mirror, because I think it'll match, just draw it in with that tiny little flower, because there's not very much of it. So I've matched those together. I've die cut the sentiment Happy Birthday. That's going to sit nicely in that big white section. But it kind of looked like it was just floating around, if you see what I mean. It's not tropical, it's not floral, it doesn't really match the decoration at the bottom of the card. I could have put it maybe on the green paper, but I didn't want it to get lost, so I think I like it where it is on the white. But just to tie things in, I've got a couple of scraps of the gold mimic and the green leafy paper, and I've just made these couple of little banners for the top right hand corner. I feel like it just ties in the top and the bottom of the card together. So instead of it just being a big expanse of white, it looks like it belongs. So just those little accents there. I'm faffing around with the layout of them. I can't quite decide how far right to have them and which order to have them, whether to have the gold behind or the green on top, all of that. So I'll faff with those a little bit longer until I finally decide. But hopefully you'll think, oh, actually, yeah, that does draw it together. You see what I mean? It wasn't really a conscious design decision. I just sort of looked at the card and felt like it needed something, if you see what I mean. So yeah, just put these here. I'm going to slide that green one off up to the top, make it a little bit shorter than the gold one, and then trim those off once they've had time to dry. I'm going to dab some of the Tonic Nouveau glue on the back of the sentiment. It's quite a fragile sentiment. You can see there that it's only just the bottom of the Y is holding on part of the word birthday. So the Y in happy is holding on part of the word. I think it's the whole of day is all attached, just tiny. And then it's not attached to the whole birthday word, if that makes sense. There's a big gap in the middle. So if you're not careful with it, you can sort of distort it and sprain it, and then it's hard to align it back on your card. So you do need to be a little bit careful. So just delicately just dab in bits of glue. Tiny as I can. I'm just slightly just tapping the glue bottle down. I'm not squeezing loads, so it's just getting tiny little drops on the back of the card. And then I'll pick that up and try not to get mucky fingerprints and glue everywhere. And I'm going to stick that right bang in the middle of that white space there. And hopefully that scripty font of the die matches in quite nicely with the lines. I feel like it's a similar line weight to the die, to the floral die cut. So it's not too chunky, it's not too fine. Although it doesn't come from the same kit, it sort of matches. And then just trim off those little bits there now they've had time for the glue to grab. And then I've got one of these little hibiscus die. Well, it's not a die cut, I fussy cut these. You'll have seen that in part 1. I coloured these with tri-blend markers, alcohol markers, and then cut them out. It's from My Favourite Friends stamp set called Polynesian Pals. So that was part of the big long preparation section of the video if you want to go back and watch part 1. And again, it just ties in that pinky plummy colour, and that I think is done. No need to put any gems or anything on there. I think there's enough shimmer with that gold and the metallic pink, and so we'll call it done. Now, for those of you who were freaking out about the mess on my desk, please go back to part 1 and see why there's such a mess on my desk. There is method to my madness. But here I am just zooming through the quick tidy up process. I pulled all of these pieces out of different pads and kits, and I don't want to go through the effort of putting them back. So I've put them all in this green plastic wallet thing, 12 by 12 wallet, and labelled it. And then this kind of kit that I've made for myself is all ready to go again. I've even put my Tonic Studios kit in the same wallet, so it's all together next time I want to do this. And here are the finished cards. So we've got the one I made in part 2 there, that's from the Hunky Dory craft stack. And then these next two are from part 1 of the video series. This was a twofer where I cut this pineapple paper and the palm tree paper. I cut those in half diagonally using, like, I aligned the papers and cut them together so I could make 2 cards for one basically, and just stuck different toppers along the diagonal. This one you've just watched today, this was using the Tonic Studios Card Kit, Tonic Craft Kit number 31, Tropical Vibes. Look at that shimmer. Look at that rainbow. That is fabulous. I love it. So happy with how this one turned out. And finally, we'll go right back to the beginning. If you've been with me from the beginning, thank you so much for sticking with me. This little funky flamingo was the very first card we made at the start of this series, and I'm still really pleased with how this one turned out. It's very happy, very summery. So yeah, 5 cards and so much more potential. You've seen how much stuff I just put back in that wallet. There are so many more tropical cards to come, so please comment if you think I've missed an opportunity, if there's something you think I should have made so far. Please let me know. And thank you so much for watching. If you stuck with me this far, I very much appreciate it. I will hopefully see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.